So Lincoln Riley and the Trojans continue to utilize the transfer portal to bring in talent, and today we need to talk about two defensive players they've brought in. First and foremost, Shane Lee from the University of Alabama, a Mike linebacker who we really need to talk about, as well as Romello Height, an outside edge rusher from Auburn that gives them more talent at that position. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes, N for no. Are you surprised that these two individuals transferred to USC and Romello Height and Shane Lee? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoy the content, like and comment down below. Those interactions may seem small, but they are massive to content creators such as myself, and both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But with all of that being said, we need to break this down because USC continues to grab players from the portal, and they currently rank as a top 5 team in transfer portal acquisitions. And that is a testament to Lincoln Riley understanding that he wants to hit the ground running and knowing that the transfer portal is a great way to be able to do so. We saw what Mel Tucker and Michigan State just did, and when you look at it, a lot of teams are trying to mirror that. USC is not alone. USC is just doing a very good job, like I said, being a top 5 team in transfer portal acquisitions. But we need to talk about the two they got yesterday, being first and foremost Romello Height, an edge rusher from Auburn, 6'5". This kid right here is going to have a ton of upside. He didn't produce the most stats, but he also didn't get the most opportunity to be able to produce those stats. Young guy, so the future is bright. The future is completely ahead of him, and that's going to be a much-needed depth piece for this defense for the USC Trojans. But the name I think I really want to spend some time talking about is Shane Lee. Shane Lee, a former inside linebacker for the Alabama Crimson Tide, actually started the entirety of his freshman season when Dylan Moses and Joshua McMillan both went down preseason with injury. In comes Christian Harris and Shane Lee. Now, the story was then wrote for Christian Harris, who ended up being the starting inside linebacker for Alabama all 3 years and looks to enter the NFL draft this year. However, for Shane Lee, he only started that 1 year. The second year was injured, and then in year 3, when Henry To'oTo'o inserts himself into the conversation, neither Christian Harris or To'oTo'o came off the field very much. So it was very unlikely you were going to find playing time and meaningful playing time with those two there. Ultimately, with To'oTo'o coming back and the inside linebacker room as stacked as it is as Alabama, it wasn't surprising Shane Lee decided to test the transfer portal. Ultimately ending up with USC. What does USC get? Now, Shane Lee is your classic Mike linebacker. He's someone who is begging you to run the ball right up the middle. That way he has the opportunity to meet you in the hole. That's the type of edge he's going to set, and that's what USC's defense is really going to look forward to. Someone that can be a leader in that situation, someone who can really set a tone. Shane Lee is that guy. Now, his freshman year at Alabama, he did get hurt in the passing game. However, the question I have is how much of that was due to pure inexperience. The way offenses are nowadays, they're keying in on your linebackers with their running backs and tight ends, and they're going to do everything they can to disguise it so that by the time you turn around, there's a running back 30 yards downfield catching a wheel route. How much of that was due to just pure inexperience? And if I had to give an estimation, I'd say quite a bit. It was just due to pure inexperience and understandable inexperience being a true freshman. But in the grand scheme of things, what does this mean for the Trojans? Well, as I open the video up talking about, Lincoln Riley continues to utilize the transfer portal, and now you're getting in a guy in Shane Lee that can be a true Mike linebacker that has experience. When you're asking Shane Lee to be the quarterback of your defense, you understand that he played a full season and a very productive season for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and he was quarterbacking that defense as well as a true freshman. So you have to be excited with the addition of Shane Lee, and I actually think this is going to be an addition that flies under the radar. I don't think people are going to talk about this in the manner it should be talked about, but I think this is a great pickup for Lincoln Riley and for the Trojans. But with that, I'm very interested in hearing from y'all, because even though I think this is a great pickup, I'm intrigued to see what you think about this. Hop down to the comments, let me know what you think about Shane Lee transferring from Alabama to USC. That's it. See ya.